Welcome Inside The SCIF.
Welcome back.
This week, in Africa this time, it's the Ruwa UFO Incident.
It took place in September 19th of 1994, and actually it took place at 12:12 local time.
Local time, so...
This incident happened at the Ariel School in Ruwa.
It's in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
So here's for those who like a bit of geography. Here's the map.
And how this incident started was, well, let me back up just a second. The school itself is a single school that houses students from ages 5 through 12.
Okay. So it's a middle school.
Right, and it's kind of,
okay.
the students that go there, a lot of them are a little bit wealthy.
Okay.
Okay, not all of them, but many of them are.
It's a good
so it's a mixed school.
Good.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the headmaster at the school was named Colin Mackey. He and the teachers were all, at that time, at 12:12, were all having a meeting.
Okay, they were in a meeting.
A faculty meeting.
During lunchtime?
No, it was actually during playtime.
Oh, playtime.
So all the students were out in the playground at the time. There was only one adult who was outside with them. Everyone else was in this meeting.
Okay.
This adult happened to be, her name was Mrs. Kirkman, and she was actually one of the parents of one of the students who was going to the school.
Okay.
And the reason she was outside was she was running what they call a tuck shop. And tuck shop is like a candy shop, a little shop for them to get treats while they're outside playing.
Right.
Okay? So while she was working at this tuck shop, the students were all playing. Some of the younger students were playing in another area.
Right.
And several of the students at this time saw these flashing lights in the sky. Some of them said that they were purple. Some said that they were white. Some said that they just saw two flashes. But they all saw some type of flashes that made them look up into the sky.
Gotcha.
At one point, they saw a silvery disc, and it was just jetting across, back and forth across the sky. Some of these students saw only one object, and some saw two.
Two, okay.
And some saw one object with smaller objects flying around, like satellite objects.
Oh, so you had like a mothership.
Exactly. But the mothership's not like this gigantic.
Right. It was regular size.
Right. It was like a...
it would be nowadays.
Scout ship, I guess you would call it.
Drones.
Right, with drones. Exactly. Some of the students ran to the tuck shop to tell...
To get candy or to tell
No. To say, hey, come outside. There's something going on. There's a spaceship out here, you know. And by that time, some of the students saw what they called the strange men. They said that they saw two strange men. So some of them were calling them the black men because they were wearing black, tight, shiny black, almost like
vinyl.
Yeah, something like that, like a very shiny material that was skin tight.
And they weren't that tall either. They weren't that tall. Previous story we had, they were like 5 to 6 feet.
No, these were 3 feet tall. So they were about the size of many of those children.
And I read one of the kids said one looked like Michael Jackson. I don't know.
Did he dance like him?
And at the
That's what I
time,
wanna
94,
know.
yeah.
They probably didn't have, too much to compare it to.
Right.
Like I said before, Mrs. Kirkman thought that these students were trying to trick her to go outside so that they could come in and steal some candy.
Oh.
Like, here, we'll distract you, and you run in and grab this, that, and the other thing, right?
Yes.
So she didn't believe them. And she tried to look outside, but she had a very limited angle of view because of how the school was located and where the tuck shop was.
Right. So you have a few pictures of the...
Right. So here's kind of an overhead view photograph, almost like a drone photo, it looks like. The very top part here is showing the actual area of where this UFO eventually landed.
Okay, that's the landing spot.
Okay, that's the landing area there. And right below here, we have this map that shows you where the children are playing and the school. And this is where the UFO landed.
Okay, so that little dot over there.
Right.
And it's a pretty big school too. I mean, for
yeah,
I thought it was
has
pretty
several
big.
buildings, right?
Yeah,
It's spread out. So like I said before, they saw these strange beings that were 3 feet high, and they had these large black eyes. The students described them as having very large heads, bald, right? Some people said that they looked like shape of a rugby ball, but they were, you know,
all more rounded.
Right. Some say they were almond shaped, some say they were rugby ball shaped, and that they had small nostrils and a slit for a mouth. Most of them described the UFO being on the ground, one alien or whatever they were on top of the UFO,
Right.
and one on the ground. The one on the top, they said, was running back and forth, and the one on the ground was running back and forth on the ground. They, at one point, noticed the children. By this time, a large group of children had come to see what's going on.
So hold on, they landed without seeing the kids at first, and they saw after
Well,
the kids, or
We don't know from
don't
their
know.
point of
Right.
view, right? We can't interview them to find out.
Right.
Unfortunately, that would be a very good interview.
No, 'cause you said, and then they saw the children. So.
Well, I think maybe there was something wrong with their ship.
Right.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm speculating at this point. I wasn't one of them, so I can't tell you. But
I got you. Okay.
But they landed. One was on top, one was on the ground, and they were both running around. Maybe something was wrong with their ship.
Okay.
I'm only speculating.
Right. No.
I'm
for
only
sure. Yeah.
speculating. Or maybe it was Michael Jackson dancing on top. You know, if there was something wrong and they were, examining, the outside of their ship for whatever reason, eventually one of them came over to where the students were.
Okay.
The one on the ground. A lot of the students, when they saw these beings, ran away crying, screaming, crying,
Yeah, because they didn't know.
because they didn't know what the heck it was.
Yeah.
And in that part of Africa, there is a fable that mothers tell their children to go to sleep at night. If the children don't behave, these guys are going to come and get them and take them away.
So they might have
some
thought
of
they
them
were here.
thought that's what it was. Like, I must have been bad, and they're coming to get me now. Some of them were close enough that they looked directly into this entity's eyes, looked directly at them, and they were frightened too. But they said that they could tell that this being was looking at them, just staring in their eyes while they're staring in its eyes.
They had those.
Which brings me to another point. Some of the children, like I said before, they were bald. Some of the children said that
the aliens, not
the children. Yes, it was a requirement of the school. They all had to have their head shaved.
Bald.
No,
bald aliens.
Seriously, no. The students had hair. The aliens were bald. That's what they reported. However, some of the students reported that they saw some with long black hair. Long, straight black hair. There was another child who said that he saw a spaceship over by these power lines, which was in another place. There's a little dirt path, and there's a fence that runs around it, and there's some power lines over there. And he claimed that he saw one hovering around in that area over there.
So that would be 3 or 2? Or that would be
two alien, or 2 UFOs.
Okay, so that would be the second.
2 UFOs, right.
Okay, gotcha.
So all the children were making such a fuss at this point. All these kids were crying, they were screaming. Some of them ran into the school and said, the black men are outside. They're coming to get us. But some of these students reported that that night and the following nights that they had lucid dreams,
Oh, vivid dream.
like
yeah.
visions
Yeah.
of the world coming to an end.
Well,
That we ruined because of pollution and technology, advanced technology. We ruined our environment, and all the trees were dying,
did it?
and we were running out of oxygen. For kids to come up with something like that,
yeah, no,
you know,
like as yeah.
you know, especially in an area like that,
Mm-hmm.
it's very unusual.
And a lot of them. It's not one or
Right,
two
right.
kids.
Well, there were more than 100 students who saw it, but 62 of them eventually,
Agreed too.
no, 62 were eventually interviewed.
Right.
So there was a BBC journalist by the name of Tim Leach, and he originally heard about the story over the radio. So he contacted a ufologist from Southern Africa named Cynthia Hind. She's one of the most well-known ufologists in South Africa,
Okay.
or in that part of Africa. And so they decided to go together to interview. He would film them, and she would interview these
Okay.
children.
Oh, okay.
So on the following Tuesday, this happened on a Friday, the incident.
Okay.
On the following Tuesday, on September 20th, they both went to the school and interviewed the headmaster, some of the teachers, and the students. The children were interviewed in a room, but the door was open. There were other students looking in the door, and some of those students were going to be interviewed later. So it's been hypothesized that some of them heard this story, and then they heard another story, and they put two things together,
they
and then they had their own idea and made up their own stories.
Yeah,
so
that's
the
smart.
way it was done was not the proper way to do
Right.
to do this. They should have been separated. Should have been done one-on-one. That's the way I feel anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because if they're all standing around, they're hearing
Of course.
what
they-
the other
they're gonna
students are
get
saying,
influenced and
and then exactly they're being influenced. So Cynthia Hind brought along a young man, and I'm sorry I've forgotten his name, but this young man built his own Geiger counter
Okay.
and magnetometer, and brought it to this
The site.
site. So this here is a picture from the BBC from that interview
Okay.
that we were talking about, where Cynthia Hind is here with the students, and they're all explaining, it was over there, and this is
Yeah.
where it happened, and they're holding drawings in their hands of what they saw. That's what's in those papers in their hands. The BBC went there. They photographed the area. Like I said, they used a homemade Geiger counter, and there was nothing really unusual about those readings. It's just normal background radiation. And there was no impression on the ground.
Oh, they did not even.
No, there was nothing on the ground, like flattened grass, nothing that showed that something had actually
Landed
sat on
there.
the ground there. That too was unusual, unless it was hovering. So in early December of 1994,
So 3 months later. 'Cause it was
Harv-
September. Yeah.
right, Professor John Mack, who is a Harvard Medical School psychiatrist, and he was in Africa, and he heard about the story, and he came down to interview
Right.
these children and the staff. So he interviewed 62 of these children, but he did it the right way. But like I said before, they could have already been influenced.
Right.
He interviewed them one-on-one in a room alone.
Yeah.
And he also is he's very well known as a child psychiatrist. So he knows how to talk to children in a way that they understand. He took his assistant, Dominique Kalamanopoulos, with him. She was one of his, I believe, one of his students at one time. And they videotaped these interviews.
Right.
And-
There's clips online. I've seen
Yes, there are several clips online. there are a lot more that we haven't seen.
Yeah, I couldn't find a whole clip. It
Right.
was just snippets, but
Right.
I'm sure there is somewhere.
But there is a documentary coming out,
Oh.
not by us, unfortunately, but
We need more
keep an eye out
subscribers.
for it. It's called Ariel Phenomenon. And this will have a lot more information than we can actually provide in the short amount of time that we have. And they will have more of the actual footage because they acquired that from John Mack's archives. Exactly.
I read that he died right after of a car accident. Like
He
in
he
weird
died-
circumstances.
He died in London. He was crossing the
Yeah,
the
by
street.
a drunk driver.
Yes, he was killed by a drunk driver, but he was crossing the street and he looked the wrong direction.
You know,
Because here in America, we look one way, and in England, you look the opposite way
Well-
because they drive the opposite side of the street.
I'm
But
sure you know
unfortunately, he was
that.
he was killed by a car, and his findings were never published
Right.
on this case. But when he interviewed them, he asked all of them to draw what they saw.
Right.
And as they drew what they saw, he asked them, to explain the drawings to him.
And there's a
Like,
lot
what
of
is
drawings.
this?
There's
And-
a lot of drawings, and they.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's one student who, when he explained the story of what happened, he said that the alien was sitting on the top of, one of them was on the ground and one was
Right,
sitting
on top.
on the top of the UFO. But he drew, in the drawing, the alien was standing on the UFO. So John Mack said to the student, you told me that the man was standing or was sitting on the UFO, but you made him standing up here. And the kid started laughing and he goes, I don't know how to draw him sitting down. John Mack, John Mack was good at, talking to these kids, getting them to feel comfortable with him and explain
And
things.
He knew what they could do, couldn't do.
Right.
So-
And as you said before, the one student said that one of the aliens told her, if you don't be careful with this planet, if you don't take care of it,
Right.
bad things are going to happen. Well, he was the one who interviewed her and asked her those, like, she told him the story, and then he said, well, how do you know that? She said, the man told me. And he said, how did he talk to you? Like, how did he tell you? She goes, no. And he said, well, how do you know? She said, I looked in his eyes and he told me. So,
Yeah. Telepathy, whatever. or-
right, it could have been telepathy, There was another child who said that how she first, like, she didn't see the flashes, but how she first noticed it, that there was a UFO, was she heard a flute sound
A flute.
in the sky. And it made her look up, and that's when she saw the UFO. Must have been like a high-pitched sound,
Yeah, I was trying to see.
almost like the
figure out-
typical theremin.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Another thing about John Mack, interestingly enough, was he had been for several years interviewing people. Like, people were coming to him. He's a psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm.
So people were coming to him with these, what they called nightmares. And they all seemed to be similar. And they all seemed to be alien abduction scenarios.
Okay.
People who don't know each other from
Yeah, but is it
different
because,
professional backgrounds.
Is it because it's a common fear among humans? Like if they have the same. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe subconscious reacted the same way.
Well, he tried to
Yeah.
figure out in the beginning, he said they're suffering from PTSD.
Yeah.
And he was thinking that maybe something in their early childhood, they were abused or something, sexual abuse or whatever it was,
Right.
or they suffered some type of catastrophic accident or something, or witnessed something terrible when they were young,
Right.
and that's why they're having the PTSD. But he had to rule it out because he said that none of them told him that they had anything like that.
Right.
And they all seem to be describing similar scenarios. Because of his interest in the area, he wrote a book.
Okay.
And it was a New York Times bestseller. So he wrote this book, and several of the professors at Harvard, went to the dean and said, I think something's wrong with John. He's losing it, like maybe we should take him off the program,
Oh, they really.
and he was being investigated by Harvard to see if, he was losing his marbles, so to speak. So they did an investigation. I think it went on for 10 months or something like that. And so he almost lost his tenure.
Wow.
Because of his interest in the subject. But it was decided that he could stay on. And unfortunately, he did die of being run over by a drunk driver. Him being interested in this really cements the fact that something is going on, whether
Right.
it's outer space, inner space. There's something that even people who are of his stature cannot understand.
or
They can't. He
understand,
can't exactly. He can't deny it, but he can't explain it.
Right.
It doesn't fit into Jung's theories or Freud or anybody else. And I want to thank the New York Post reporter Stephen Greenstreet from the Basement Office, the YouTube channel.
Yeah, we had fun watching those.
He found a document from the U.S. National Institute of Health specifically relating to episodes of mass hysteria in African schools.
Oh, so he wouldn't be the first one.
Right. A lot of people thought this was a case of mass hysteria. Somebody saw something, they didn't understand what they saw, they told somebody else, and it spread. Right, the fear spread amongst the children, and a lot of people thought that that's what it was. The article states that many believe this is not a case of mass hysteria. What the children witnessed was real. What they saw was something real. So here's some drawings by those students.
And there's a lot of drawings, so.
Right, but I want to make a point about some of these drawings because there's another theory that came about
Okay.
that I want to talk about. So this particular drawing right here is one of them. You see the shape of the UFO,
Yeah, it's like a bean.
right? Okay.
To me, they all look different, pretty much. I mean, this.
Right, they all kind of they described it differently,
Yeah.
But, okay, take a look at this one here.
The little stars, the little flashing lights.
Right, but you see the
on
shape
top.
of it?
Yeah, it looks like.
What does it remind you of?
What?
Do you know those camper trailers?
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I'm
RV,
talking about?
RV, a big RV.
Not an RV, the ones you pull
Yeah.
behind your car. The way that the school is located, the buildings are here, okay? Buildings are here. The field where they saw this,
Landing spot.
the landing spot is over here. There's a road here. There's a dirt road that runs back here, like I said before, and goes around like this, and there's a fence.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So one theory is that this was a practical joke played on the children at the school, that someone drove one of those things into the tall weeds,
Right.
and it's silver, aluminum, right? And they wore some kind of scuba outfits or whatever, and then put on some
Swim glasses.
glasses with
goggles.
some
Swimming
big
goggles.
or something.
My swimming
Right,
goggles are all black.
with black lenses, right?
Black.
And perpetrated a hoax against these children. So what they said they saw, part of it anyway, is true, but it was people in an RV.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that's what it was. But that's one of the popular theories. was that some, young adults or teenagers or whatever did this hoax against the kids in the school.
Yeah, this.
But that doesn't explain things in the sky and, stuff like that. Well, you could see here some of them have long hair, these aliens that I was talking about. There's one with long hair, long straight black hair. It's a very good case, I have to say, because of the amount of witnesses. I think that's about all we have for this case for now.
Don't forget to check our Instagram page also, since we post all the new episodes there and keep you informed of what's going on. And that's it for today. So we'll see you next time
on Inside the SCIF.